I'm TheCentrist 2048 on YouTube, and this is part of a series I'm doing where I interview speedrunners from a bunch of different communities. So the way I generally go through things is I'll play a game, I'll complete a free solo run, which is a run where I beat the entire game 100% deathless in a single segment. And then after that, I'll do a speed run to see where I am sort of just fitting into the leaderboards, and I do one that I feel comfortable with. And then as the ending, it's like the capstone to my experience with the game, I am interviewing a member from the speedrunning community, or at the very least, a high-level member of the community who is well respected. You are well
Thank you.
respected. Yeah, and so today we are doing an interview with Pnash. Pnash was a runner at GDQ of Jedi Fallen Order, and has been playing the game for... How long have you been playing the game for?
About a year and a half now. I've been speedrunning. Before that, I pre-ordered the game, and basically since it came out, yeah, casually, and then speedrun.
Yeah, I bought the game a week after it came out and started playing it, and I really thought my free solo run wouldn't take as long as it did. It ended up taking about a little less than a full year for me to complete 100% deathless run of the game.
That's great. I mean, that's a very good accomplishment. I personally, I've done 100%, which in itself takes a long time. And
it's just flashbacks of pain, just I'm experiencing.
I believe it. I know a few challenge runners who have done. I don't know if you know Hayate Midori on Twitch.
I'm a follower on his channel. I love what he's doing.
He worked on crazy challenge runs for a long time, and he did the 100% no damage, which is even just crazy.
I can't. He must just hate life and everything in it. Like, I can't imagine. One of the things that a lot of speedrunners and myself encountered after you play a game for a long time is you start to just hate the game, hate playing it, hate it. And then I think it was good for me to take a break after I finished my free solo to now I've played it a few more times since then. I've taken like a 6-month break, and I have fun again playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes I think that's beneficial. What about you? Do you think your thoughts on the game have changed at all since you started playing?
Yeah, actually, myself personally, recently, it's I've been doing it for a long time, so it does start to wear on you. I love the game. I've always loved the game. Since the first time I picked it up, it just completely... And I'm not big on single-player games, really. So this was the first game in a long time that really immersed me, and I just wanted to keep playing and playing. And then I remember a moment, actually, to touch on that topic, where watching GDQ several years ago, where a speedrunner said, I think it was pretty much the same question, how do I choose a game to speedrun or whatever, and that their response was, don't pick a game you like. Don't pick a game you enjoy, which is the exact opposite for me. I don't think I've ever gotten sick of it. I'm currently taking a break from speedrunning it. Just the sheer amount of cutscenes in the game have just become a little ridiculous, especially with, as a speedrunner, how much we're resetting and how much time you put in. I probably have close to 2,000 hours played, including casual, 100% run, challenge running, speed running, and so yeah, I mean, currently the run has become a little bit more difficult, so like I said, I'm on a break now, but I wouldn't ever say that I don't like the game anymore, or like that runner at GDQ said, don't run a game that you enjoy, because I feel like the exact opposite of Fallen Order. I still love the game no matter what.
Full transparency on those unskippable cutscenes. I think in my speed run that's on the site, I actually, during the Ilum lightsaber making cutscene, I think I went and made nachos and then came back after making nachos and ate like half the plate before I had to pick up the controller again.
Yeah, that's
So,
the longest cutscene in the game. That's a good 5 minutes, that one. And then you have the Malicos Marin cutscene with the broken lightsaber. Yeah, actually, when you play the game that much, and it's kind of ridiculous, but you've watched all these cutscenes so many times, I can almost quote every single cutscene like word for word, and I like that because just the game, the story, everything about it is so good. And the cutscenes, the voice lines, the voice acting, just it's one of the best games that I have ever played in terms of, it's my first speed game, but even just gaming in general, because I was a big online gamer for a long time. So to get into a single player game, like I said, was very difficult. I played like a lot of MMOs. I played World of Warcraft for 15 years. So Jedi Fallen Order is just absolutely an incredible game, no matter what.
Well, you can really feel the love and devotion that's put into the game, and how much the creators of the game were genuine Star Wars, just love Star Wars fans. You can tell, down to all of the different what's the phrase? All different sort of like fortune cookie like cameos that appear inside the game of all different Star Wars elements. And even after playing the game 80 times, 90 times, whatever, playing through the story, I still get a chill every time I see Darth Vader show up.
Oh yeah,
in that final cutscene.
Yep.
And just
it's the most memorable moment of the game, my first playthrough. That when the Darth Vader reveal was just, it was amazing.
And especially for 100% runner, where I unlock every single ability. By the end of the game, I'm like destroying every enemy in there, just to be picked up and tossed aside like a ragdoll by Darth Vader. As he takes two of the toughest protagonists in the game, kills them instantly within 30 seconds, and I love the game.
To touch on that, where he throws Seer into the lava, when the May 4th patch came out and we gained the ability to fly, we're like, Seer could secretly fly this whole time because like she just tosses her aside into the lava, and it's like, oh, she's still alive, and it's a little ridiculous. And then the ending, no matter how much I love the game, the ending was a little disappointing because it's kind of the whole point of the game just ends with, how
you go back to it's a little Indiana Jones-esque, right? The theory for the Raiders of the Lost Ark, that if Indiana Jones had never left, everything would have turned out the same. But the Seer thing is sort of interesting because you mentioned that Seer can fly. Seer gets tossed into the deep pit. I don't know, for anyone who's ever seen Star Wars and is watching this, as a deep Star Wars fan, that being tossed into a deep pit does nothing to any Star Wars character at any time. You could just walk it off, even if you get literally chopped in half before falling into one of these things, it still doesn't matter. And that is actually an in-canon. Could that be an in-canon part of your runs where you can exploit the flying glitches and ways to get out of bounds? Maybe that's just what every Star Wars character does when they fall into one of these things.
Just fly, bro. That's one of our memes in the community. When that patch came out, everything, just fly, bro, was the solution to everything. And then we also have another meme where it's like, somebody commented on my YouTube and they're like, these silly target lock jumps you're doing, did you know you can fly in this game? And it was like, on Baraka, and you can't fly until Kashyyyk, until you get the ability to double jump. He's like, this flying pales these silly target lock jumps you're doing. So we're like, did you know you can fly in this game?
So tell me a little bit about that, because before this interview, I made sure to watch the whole GDQ run. And as someone who doesn't really do any of those tricks in my runs, it's truly amazing. It's a spectacle to see. I'd urge anyone watching this stream to definitely take a look at the GDQ video, because you massacre the game.
Yeah, it was a great run.
It's horrific. What is your favorite glitch to use in a run? And then you can also tell a story of how that was discovered if you would like.
I would say pause buffer clipping is my favorite glitch, which was not in the GDQ run. I used to run. Right now, we have the categories merged. We've gone through a few stages of merging and unmerging the categories. I ran the any percent no PBC category at GDQ, which doesn't involve the pause buffer clip, but I was one of the very few people running the actual any percent category, which was separate for a long time, and I got the world first sub 2 hour any percent run with the use of pause buffer clipping. And if you're unfamiliar with the concept of pause buffer clipping, we refer to it as PBC, and it's used in a lot of speed runs, and we use it to clip through walls, doors. Even at this point, it's evolved to the point where we used to use Alt Tab. It was traditionally done by pausing the game, and everyone believed that it was hardware dependent because nobody could do it except for like one or two people when the speedrun first came out, the evolution of the speedrun. So we ended up, I watched a video, somebody found a trigger point on a fan where they got stuck in an animation while holding onto a ledge, and there's a specific fan on Zepho where you can grab the ledge and then it'll just keep bonking your head. You're supposed to slow the fan and go through the hole, but it'll just like Cal's just sitting there like stuck, and so I was just messing around. I was like, what is this? And then I alt tabbed out of the game and it lagged, and it actually broke the sequence of being stuck in this never-ending animation, because like you could press any button and it was just like you couldn't get out of it. So I was like, maybe you can PBC using this alt tab method. And sure enough, it worked. So there were a lot of people who like couldn't get it to work using alt tab, and so I was one of the very few people, like I said, running the any percent, which used pause buffer clipping, and it's evolved to the point now where it works with alt enter, switching from full screen to windowed mode, F11, which is the new, like, also another community meme where you press F11 and it's like the God button where you can walk through doors, walk through walls, walk through cutscene triggers. It's just, and it's strange how I've never experienced a game where inducing lag, like so much lag by either tabbing out or switching from full screen to windowed mode, etc., allows you to do these crazy things that you can do in Fallen Order. And even my friend is currently working on a game in Unreal, which Fallen Order is made in Unreal Engine, and he's like trying to recreate this. Is like, we're thinking to ourselves, like, how did the devs do this? How did the devs make a mistake like allowing us to fly? Like, we have no idea. Obviously flying is a really, really cool glitch that made the speed run much, much shorter. And my first run was 4 hours and 24 minutes before we had the ability to fly. And I just kept improving over time this was without the use of pause buffer clipping. The world record at the time was around 3 hours and 2 minutes without the use of flying. And now we're down to an hour and 28 minutes or so. So it's just crazy how much the effect of these glitches have evolved the speedrun over time, and shortened it tremendously.
I think it's really interesting and unique for that a game like Jedi Fallen Order, where a lot of the glitches are yet to be seen. They're yet to be discovered. And maybe you have some glitches that you're then working on. How do I then use this to make the run faster? Where it's a very unsolved game. There's a lot of games that are pretty much solved. Like if you're playing Super Mario 64, no one's expecting to find like a glitch that saves 2 minutes at this point. It's pretty well mapped out. Whereas you got to be part of a community that's on like the knife's edge of discovery. So my question there is, does most glitches discovered by accident in this sort of discovery phase, or are there people who are intentionally looking and then finding these glitches?
I would say for the most part, I have found most of the glitches that we currently use today, and I am purposely glitch hunting, and that's like one of my favorite things to do when I'm not speedrunning the game. And to touch on that, a lot of the way the game is programmed, I have a very good understanding of how it works. So I kind of run simulations in my head when I'm not playing the game. Like, kind of thinking about more so.
That's awesome.
When I was glitch hunting and the speedrun was evolving, I knew the limitations of the game, like how there are loading triggers, how only certain chunks of the game, the map, the planet are loaded in at any given time in order to save resources, because the game was ported. It was made for console and it was ported to PC. So the long elevator rides, the lag, the choppiness that everyone complains about, this is because you're hitting a loading trigger. And since I knew this, I was able to, and it wasn't the most intuitive way to do it, because you can use cheat engine and find exact coordinates and stuff like that. I basically just kind of flew around until I figured out visual cues. I find a big glitch. We had the knowledge of general glitches, and you can use that knowledge to expand upon finding new glitches. And there are several glitches that I personally found where, like you said, like it's evolving, like it's a brand new speed run, and we find glitches where it shaves like 15 minutes off the run. Crazy stuff like that. Several minutes. So yeah, mostly just taking the knowledge from how the game works and implementing that into testing it and seeing whether or not it works. And we were at a point where we thought, like, this is it. Like, we're never gonna find anything.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still finding stuff. We're still finding glitches. Not necessarily shaving 15 or 30 minutes off the run with a single glitch or skip, but we're still finding stuff, and I'm still searching for glitches.
That is actually an awesome segue into my next question. Is there a specific glitch or way to skip a cutscene or thing you're working on right now, or the community's working on? What's the next challenge in terms of optimizing the run?
I think we're at the point where there's little things. There have been several glitches that have been found recently by other people, console runners and stuff, which open doors to skipping certain cutscenes. Recently, like the drop jump, which is where you can be holding onto a ledge. Like I was saying earlier, you can grab ledges. If you drop off the ledge and simultaneously jump and press a direction, like diagonally or up, and the inputs need to be all at the same time, you can glitch out the animation, and Cal, instead of climbing up the ledge, it skips the animation. And they're like the first cutscene in the game, this is where it was found. The loading trigger for that cutscene is when you climb the ledge. It's not like a plane like some loading triggers are, where you walk into it. Mm-hmm. So if you don't climb the ledge, the cutscene doesn't play.
Mm-hmm. That's and that could then be expanded to save a minute here or there, or more throughout the run potentially.
Yeah, and then it opened doors to, like I said, we have this new tech where we can apply to other situations to save a lot of time to get out of bounds to places where, like Raqqa, we never thought would get any faster, and then we within the past couple months managed to shave 3 minutes off Raqqa just because of the use of this drop jump glitch. We can go all the way out of bounds from the part where Prof is like, I'll meet you at the clamps, and we can navigate on this geometry that's out of bounds and get all the way from there to the clamps, which is pretty crazy.
Nice. So I do have to ask this myself. I don't know if you've ever seen my run or even part of it, but I try to make my run intentionally glitchless, or essentially not using any glitches whatsoever. And my 100% is, I think it's an 8-hour 26-minute, and I made a massive mistake right at the end of my run that probably lost me 15 minutes pretty easily, because I had miscalculated the amount of XP I needed. And so I ended up like 1 skill point short, and I needed to go through the whole, thing. That felt terrible. Do you think there's going to be a glitchless category added to the game?
Currently we have no plans. That's been a big question from a lot of people. Why is there no glitchless category? Will you be adding one? The short answer to that is the community and the moderators cannot agree on what is and isn't a glitch, which might seem silly to some people, but at the same time, it's difficult. I mean, we could define glitches, but there are so many possibilities. Animation canceling. You've seen our runs, how we chain dash. Is that a glitch? Is skipping an area a glitch? Because you can do a dash flip up over some geometry and skip enemies. So I didn't get to touch on this, but another thing that would you consider a glitch? The Zipline Glitch, where we used to use to skip the bounty hunters. Now all you do is, which a casual could accidentally do this and just end up running past the bounty hunters and skipping an entire planet. You ride the zipline up, you hit a loading trigger for the ice caves, and then you ride the zipline down, and then you ride it back up, and for some reason the bubbles don't spawn in the ice caves, and so you don't have to fight the bounty hunters, and you can skip that entire planet. Now, is that a glitch, guys? Myself personally, in terms of glitches, I consider glitches anything that's not intended by the developers, which is basically everything we do in the speedrun. So something like that, yes, I would consider that a glitch. Chain dashing, animation canceling, no. That's not a glitch. Some would argue, when the topic was discussed of a glitchless run, I said no, animation canceling is not a glitch, and then there was someone who was, there's always someone who wants to play devil's advocate, where they're like, oh, well, then I can argue that flying is animation canceling, and that's not a glitch. But I mean, there's a clear line to me what isn't and isn't a glitch. Going out of bounds is not intended by the developers. That is a glitch. Target lock jumps, that's a glitch. Flying, clearly a glitch. These things to me are obvious. But again, the sheer length of the run, the amount of cutscenes for a glitchless category is just something that, many people just, the interest isn't there. So that's why we don't have a glitchless category. But if you're interested in running glitchless, we don't have to have the category on speedrun.com. If you want to do a glitchless speedrun, go for it, put it on YouTube, and just because there's no leaderboard doesn't mean that you can't do it. There are a lot of challenge runners who make up their own challenges they set their own rules, and it's not necessarily the rules set by the challenge running community, which what I would say is similar to the Fallen Order speedrunning community, where we have our rules. But feel free to make up your own rules and run that, and there's nothing stopping you from doing that, just because we don't have leaderboards for that. Skip a minor area, like on Kashyyyk, for example. Now we skipped that entire thing using the slide skip, which was actually something that I was trying to figure out for a long, long time. That's probably a glitch that took the longest to figure out, and another runner was able to figure it out utilizing an airwalk. So basically what I'm trying to say is it's difficult for us to actually define what is, what's a glitch and what isn't. So that's why we're not really planning on adding the category itself, or why we don't have one. And also the sheer length of the run, like you said, it's a very long run. There's a lot of cutscenes, and the interest in running the category is also important to us on whether or not we would like to add it, because even though 100% run when the game first came out, the category, we don't have many runs in it. They kind of didn't want to add it. This was before my time. But it's funny that you say you made a mistake with the XP, because there have been several situations where 100% runners forgot to learn a skill point or something before the end of the game, and then so they couldn't 100% it.
It's it was a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
And yeah, I definitely get that too. It's any game of that length is punishing, even if you're playing the whole thing. But I think there's especially a feeling where you can glitch out of bounds, or you can do things even in a casual playthrough by complete accident.
Yeah.
I had a lot of games going 100% that crashed in certain areas. That
Pagano 2 is a big one.
Is that the end of my run, or do I just restart, take the time loss, and keep going? So I definitely feel that. Yeah, it's tough. It's a lot of unskippable cutscenes. Probably I'd say an hour's worth at least.
There's a whole movie on YouTube. It's 3 hours long of everything. But it's not just the cutscenes. It's conversations on the Mantis and stuff. But there's a lot of cutscenes for sure, over an hour.
So now I have sort of an interesting question about the community. First off, is the community gearing up now to start transitioning to the idea of the second Fallen Order game that's coming up? Is that something you'd be interested in playing?
Absolutely. I can't wait. I think everybody feels that way about it. Yeah, I love it.
Any theories as to what planets you're going to be going to? Where are you going to be seeing? What planet would you love to see from the Star Wars universe in the second Fallen Order game?
I don't know. Tatooine, maybe.
Tatooine, really? Again?
I don't know. Right. Just anything great. There's so many ideas where they can go with it. Open world. Just
that would be
I'm more excited. Maybe a different character, not Cal, or I don't know if that's. I feel like they're gonna keep Cal as the protagonist and the same characters, but even not necessarily planets, other characters from canon, and kind of put it into perspective with the time period where if you watch the animated TV's shows where everything kind of ties in to each other, and Star Wars Rebels, the Clone Wars, and now Bad Batch, stuff like that.
Did you get a kick out of seeing the most recent Bad Batch episodes?
I haven't watched it yet.
You have not.
I have seen Yes, I don't want to spoil anything, but I have seen
Yeah,
the
no spoilers here.
yeah. Yeah, so I've seen I haven't seen the most recent one, but I've seen the one or two before that where so I thought that was pretty cool to kind of put it to perspective of the time period and stuff.
I actually have a theory, so I want to get your opinion on this theory. So my theory goes that in the original cut of the game, I think it's Prav. Yeah, my theory is Prav betrays Cal and sells him out, and that they changed the voice lines because it was too dark or too harsh or something. I don't know. It just seems like in my sort of headcanon, it flows pretty well. Of the vision says trust only in the Force, and then you see Prav giving this suicidal speech to the Empire about like resisting the Empire when he's standing right in front of a Sith Inquisitor who just kills him out of, I don't know, annoyance or whatever.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Very sad problem. He died for something. I'm not exactly sure what he died for.
So they were best friends, He gave his life for Cal, trying to save everyone there, but it was clear. Look at this, a lightsaber. Found the Jedi.
Oh, I do really love the story of the game.
Yeah.
And I love how almost every character has their own unique antagonist. Grease has his antagonists tracking him throughout the game. Marin has her antagonist Malagos, who you fight. And then Seer sort of has Trilla as the antagonist relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm definitely gonna play Fallen Order 2 when it comes out. So let's see. My last question is, what is your and then we can end at that point if you want to talk more.
I think I have a few things I can touch on. Yeah.
Awesome. What is your opinion on the Hitless community? Because that is, I don't think I'd seen the Hitless community picked up in many games before Fallen Order. And Fallen Order happened to sort of pick up the start of the trend just as it was building. I think the only Hitless runner I'd ever seen before was the Happy Hob, who did some Dark Souls work and was like doing some Hitless Dark Souls runs, which are another level of difficulty that I can't even imagine. Does the speedrunning community like do any work with the Hitless community, or are those kind of two completely separate entities in your opinion?
I think the speedrunning community and the challenge running community, not necessarily. There aren't many Hitless runners. We have Pretzel, I think, is the most active Hitless runner at the moment. His PP is 1 in Fallen Order, 1 hit, and which is just amazing, absolutely amazing. A lot more popular is the no damage, like no skills, no death, which is like the beginning. Speaking of no death, my PB is actually 1, so props to you for completing the game. No death. Was it on Grandmaster? What difficulty did you play on?
I was playing on normal.
Okay.
Well, there is no normal difficulty. I was playing on Master.
Okay. Jedi Master or I don't even know. My first playthrough was...
It's like Padawan, Knight, Master, and Grandmaster, right? It's been a while since I've done any difficulties besides...
Story, yeah. Story.
Oh, that's right, Story. I think of it in my head as Padawan. I really shouldn't, but it's technically called Story, which is like good for speedrunning and not much else.
Yeah.
I think I wish now that I'd played it on Grandmaster, because by the time that I was finishing up the run, fights were not the challenging part in the slightest. It was physics wonkiness and environmental garbage that I had to deal with. But like after maybe 50 runs in, I decided to try it with Grandmaster, and I lasted until I ran into one of the first just frogs. Not even the Ognobogno, but like a basic frog.
Yeah.
And I realized that its speed was different. Not like more or less
aggressive,
difficult, but its the timings were changed, and I was so used to the timings for Master that I realized I was gonna have to do like 10 runs before I could even begin to have the muscle memory to do the new timings. And so I decided to just stick with Master at that point.
Yeah. So challenge running, we have, at first, I would say that no, we weren't really in contact with each other, but we have evolved over time to respect each other, and because there are members of both communities who have bridged the gap. Our runner who currently has the Grandmaster All Boss category, which we ended up adding later on. Well, we had the idea, and then again, it was something that like people needed to be interested in order for us to actually add the category, was a challenge runner, and she just was interested in speedrunning and then ended up coming over to our speedrun. Now she's one of our speedrun.com moderators, which is amazing. Her original there's so many different forms, like you mentioned Hitless, which is, and also to touch on like how combat and climbing and stuff in the game can be very, very glitchy, so it makes challenge running, this game in particular, very difficult, especially like no damage and stuff. Like you just fall off things like randomly. Like I hate when I first played the game, climbing was probably one of my biggest complaints, how wonky it was. So Jillian, I mentioned her at our Games Done Quick run.
Oh yeah, Jillian.
Yeah, so she's very, very good at the game, and I am a Grandmaster. I wouldn't call myself a challenge runner. I would never run no damage. But I love Souls games, and I love the challenge. I love the lightsaber combat in Fallen Order. I think that is just what really, really draws me into the game, in addition to the glitches in the speedrun. And then that's kind of what the Grandmaster All Bosses run ties everything in together, where we're playing on the hardest difficulty, we're fighting all the bosses and mini bosses, and also we're trying to do it as fast as possible, which I believe her current is sub 2.5 hours. I had the world first Grandmaster All Boss run, which was that run also has significantly changed because we had to route that from scratch as well. So the time has it's very similar to any percent, where in order for her to improve her time, she can kill the bosses extremely fast. The bosses aren't an issue. She doesn't even because we need to go to the prison and fight the bounty hunter. He is considered a boss, and so she doesn't even get stims. She doesn't rescue BD1 in the where you rescue him. So she goes through the whole game after that without stims, which is just unbelievable. She's that good. That and her challenge run was no dodge, roll, evade. She beat the whole game, no death, without dodging or rolling or evading. So which is pretty crazy. And we have all kinds of runners, but definitely very few hitless, and more so no damage and stuff like that.
That's incredible. And I used to get some weird like chats when I would be chatting with someone else who was either doing a challenge run or doing a speed run, and I would mention that I count environmental deaths as deaths in my runs. And they would just be like, why?
Oh, for sure.
Why do you do that? Why do you do that to yourself?
That's a death is a death. Go ahead.
It took me a year, and especially because I could consistently make it through the first like 5 hours, and then at like hour 4.5 or hour 5, you get to Dathomir, and you have to go down that infernal slide.
Oh yeah,
and then
it's worse.
So in the routing, because I get full exploration, there's a single part on Dathomir that for whatever reason you need to get the climbing gloves to climb up the fire lichen. But the only way I could get back down there was by going down the slide again So I have to go down the slide twice in my run, and that killed countless runs.
I can agree with that.
So
I
hopefully
had
the
a hard
next
time
one.
with that slide on when I first played the game as well. It eats your double jump, that one where you have to jump across the gap, I believe, so when you're talking about, down to the swamps.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason it's glitched and it eats your first jump and then you can't get the second jump, and I don't understand. I died there myself on Grandmaster. Like, my first playthrough was Jedi Master, then Grandmaster, then Grandmaster 100%. All glitchless. So like, I died there. And in the no damage runs as well, the environmental damage falling, that counts as damage.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this, on the subject of slides, Zepho as well. That the one down through the ice caves where you have to grab onto that rope. I'm sure you know the one, or randomly falling off wall runs, like
that
stuff like that.
I made a massive routing change because of that single jump to that rope.
Yeah,
which is so unpredictable. So I don't go to the ice caves at all, and I like go around. And instead, like after getting force push, I go to the right path, go to the factory, go all the back way, all the way to the Venator, and then I go take that shortcut down the ice caves, which is a much easier slide. And so I don't do that that slide to the rope until I have force pull, which makes the rope easier.
Yeah.
But that's like just one of several routing changes I had to make, not because of speed, but purely because of survivability.
We have runners that do the same for challenge runs, but they just won't go that way because they've lost so many runs. And then some unavoidable, like Hayate has lost a lot of no damage runs to the slide down to the way you would normally go to get push. There's a little slide, and there's also a bug where you get slower slides on Zepho, and you have to like quit out when you get there in order to get faster slides. It's really weird. Like, there's so many little bugs like that make challenge running this game difficult.
I hope the next game is more consistent in terms of the physics. I think it probably will be, unless they make the second game also on the Unreal Engine, which I feel like would be less likely, considering the next game would be probably optimized for PS5 and what the next gen consoles, whatever. But anyway, so you're taking a break from the game. What is next for you? Do you think you're going to go back to the game at some point, or is there another game you want to work on, or do you just sort of want to take it easy and then work on Fallen Order 2 whenever that comes out?
A little both. I think I'll be back to speedrunning the game for sure, and definitely looking forward to the second one. Definitely looking forward to glitches and glitch hunting. I've thought about speedrunning other games. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I thought about Control, but Control is a little combat heavy. The speedrun, yeah, I changed my mind. I never even played through it casually because Control doesn't really appeal to me that much after playing it. Can't get into it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, by the way, for being willing to do this interview with me. I thought it went really great. It's really fascinating to get a look into a community that's continuing to develop new strategies and innovate, and that's like right on the... And to talk with someone like you who is actually a glitch hunter, because that's something not even a lot of speedrunners can claim. A lot of speedrunners, like myself, for example, I'll watch the best runs. I'll just, look for, just sort of try to mimic what they do. But you actually are the one out there on the forefront creating the runs. So you are doing some very good work for all of us. Thank you very much for your efforts. And yeah, do you have any final questions for me?
I think I just a couple things I can touch on with I think that it's like you said, you mimic the run, you watch the run, you follow it, you try to learn what they're doing. I think that's much more difficult. The nice thing about Fallen Order was from the beginning we made the run what it is today. The run had a route and glitches and stuff, but it evolved so much, and it made it much easier when I was the one finding the glitches and stuff like that. I think I find it much more difficult to follow a speed run and try to learn it on my own, especially depending on how much resources there are, which is why I really try on my YouTube. I have just hundreds of tutorials on how to do almost every single glitch in the game. You know, I find something, I make a video tutorial on how to do it. So that made me really much easier, I would say, than, you know, it's on a newer game like Fallen Order, like compared to like a game like Super Mario. That's just a whole nother level where learning from runs and stuff, it's a lot more difficult.
Awesome.
Let's see.
Are there any plugs you would like to give to the speedrun community? Any events that the Discord the Jedi Fallen Order community is going to be putting on? Do you guys do any races, stuff like that?
I'd say we used to be a lot more active in terms of races and stuff, but when the run was more kind of the no PBC run, which was far more popular. A lot of people don't like PBC. A lot of the glitches have become much harder, which has deterred using pause bar for clipping, which has deterred some runners, including myself a little bit. Certain skips are just run killers very late into the run, and resetting on such a long speed run really sucks. And Kashyyyk is like one of the main ones. Kashyyyk was always hard, and now it's even harder, and it's just a run killer. It's always been a run killer, but like if you mess up a certain glitch, then your run is over, which is always the case, but this one in particular is just, it's rough. For me personally, a lot of other people are able to do it easily. Events wise, Cage King 2 just ran Fallen Order at ESA Marathon, and he actually ended up messing up that particular glitch where we skipped the rebreather. So in doing so, this was the glitch that we worked on for I personally worked on. It was a dream. It was, it was something that I never expected to be possible, and then somebody new, a glitch hunter, comes in and they figure it out, so it's always nice to have other brains working on stuff and not just one person, because they can think outside the box. Like, I always think outside the box in terms of glitch hunting, but he has another perspective where he finds these things that I would never think of. So yeah, races, not as much, but Cage ran at ESA, and the community it's a great community. Some great people I've met over the year and a half that I've been speedrunning the game, which is why I always try to get people into the game. And you don't have to, like I said, like pause buffer clipping, like there are we've had new runners recently coming on board, and they love the community, but they don't like PBC. They don't want to use PBC, which you don't have to. You're not going to have as good of a time as runners that use PBC, but it's a great place to be, and I highly recommend the game, speedrunning the game, if you really enjoy the game. The cutscenes are rough, but the community is very welcoming, including myself, with the amount of work, like I said, putting into tutorials on YouTube to help people. I love to help out new runners and get people interested in the game and speedrunning it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for dropping by and being willing to do this interview. It's great to chat with you and talk about the speedrunning community in general and the speedrunning community for Jedi Fallen Order in particular. I will be with you anxiously awaiting Jedi Fallen Order 2.
Yeah.
Cal's Revenge. No, it's probably not gonna be called that. But yeah, if you're interested in running Jedi Fallen Order, definitely check out this guy's YouTube channel. check out the Jedi Fallen Order Discord.
It's on. You can find a link on speedrun.com to our Discord. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/Pnash, Pnash, and as well as Twitch is both the same username. So definitely check out my YouTube and Twitch if you're interested in the content that I create. And speedrun.com for, Fallen Order community and Discord.
All right, thank you. You've been watching The Centrist View. Have a nice day.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we're off. Thanks.
Great,
I thought that went really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Feel a lot less anxious. So.
No, yeah, I thought you did great. It really is interesting discussing like the specifics of how glitches get discovered. The amount of work, I think people underestimate how much work is put into creating these runs that look really fast. And yeah, they look really fast now, but there's someone who put in 1,000 hours into making sure they look really fast.
Yeah.
Great. Do you have any final questions for me or anything?
One thing I did want to mention, which you're not recording, which is fine, but I'll put this in my video, that the thing that really made me want to speedrun the game is, obviously I love the game. I went to speedrun.com. I was like, maybe I never speedran any games before. My first speedrun game. Let's try and do this fast. And I couldn't believe how glitchy it was. And there was a post on the speedrun.com forums, and it was the target lock jump, as you've seen. Right there, it just blew my mind, and I was like, this is so cool. And that was the foundation of our no-fly speedrun, was the target lock jump. It's what allowed us to skip large areas of the game. So that
awesome.
trick, right there was just what made me where I am today, going to GDQ, and just speedrunning this game. It's funny. It's one little thing, and then I just fell in love.
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to ask you something. You'd mentioned you've played World of Warcraft 15 years.
Yeah.
I actually played all the way through Classic and ended up playing a warrior tank and getting Thunder Fury.
Oh, awesome.
Through my guild. So I was just sort of wondering what class you played and if you're still playing and stuff like that.
Did you play Vanilla WoW or the new?
The new
classic. WoW. Okay. Yeah, I played a warlock. I didn't really get into Vanilla WoW when it came out. I was in high school at the time going. Burning Crusade came out when I was in college, and just the grind from Vanilla WoW. I tried different classes. I couldn't really find out one I liked. I played a warrior, I played a rogue, I played a druid, I played a mage. And then in the Burning Crusade came out, I picked up a warlock and I fell in love, and I played that for pretty much the entire time. That was my main character. And then as I became more experienced with the game, I picked up other classes. I picked up healing. And personally, I'm somebody who likes to play all different roles. I obviously stuck with a DPS, and that was my main role, and I was best at. But I learned to tank. My favorite was a warrior tank. Priest healer. I eventually picked up and ended up main swapping to that in Warlords of Draenor. And then throughout the what was the expansion after that? Did you only play vanilla?
Legion.
Classic, yes, Legion. Okay, yes. And so Warlords of Draenor and Legion, I played Priest. Legion was the one with all the legendary grinds, and then BFA, right? Yeah, so Legion was something else with all those legendaries. Of course, it's the RNG aspect of that was terrible, because there was a trinket that was mandatory for a discipline priest, and discipline priests were very, very strong at the time, which I was big on the PvE. Like you said, you got the Thunder Fury, raiding. I was always a raider, and I was always pushing for those top 20, top 50 guilds I was in. A lot of end game boss kills at that level. US, not worlds, of course. We're the Europeans, like most games, tend to dominate the world first, and there are a few guilds that are limit and stuff like that. US guilds that are competing with those European guilds, but
yeah,
it's not like I always push for top US as best as I could do.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for being willing to come by my stream.
Yeah,
I'm currently working on Arkham Asylum, so that's, I think, gonna be the next one.
Okay, awesome.
But yeah, I'll definitely stick with. I'll definitely keep this Jedi Fallen Order Discord.
Awesome.
Yeah, if you ever need anything from me or interested in that, just send me a whisper.
What wasn't that the game that Hayate was challenge running, the Arkham Asylum Batman game, or was I know there's a couple of them.
I think he was doing Arkham City.
Okay.
Or, no, Arkham Knight. That's what he was doing.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm on a quest to beat every game ever made without dying.
Awesome. So yeah, you're a challenge runner.
Yeah, I think it'll be a while though before I try another game as long as Fallen Order.
Oh yeah.
Just because IRL stuff sort of caves in enough that an 8.5 hour run is like a long time. And I think my free solo is actually like about 10 hours of Jedi Fallen Order. And that's also because I listen to all the dialogue too.
Yeah. A lot of that's the nice part about PC is like a lot of the challenge runners use the trainer to fast forward through all that, so it's not as bad. I would like.
I know. I needed to. I listened to all of it. I'm a little bit OCD when it comes to that sort of thing. So it's like somewhere in me, it's like digging. No, you need to listen to it. You need to listen to it. I know you've heard what Grease says, but you need to hear every single dialogue line that he's going to have.
Yeah.
And he has 3 on every area, and you just got to do it. Yeah. But thanks again, and have an excellent weekend, all right?
You too.
All right. Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
I just wanted to thank TheCentrist very much for the opportunity to participate in this interview and QA, and definitely check him out on YouTube and Twitch. I'll put a link in the description of this video to his social outlets. So with that being said, thank you everyone so much for watching this video. Definitely check out my Twitch and YouTube for tutorials, content. If you're interested in speedrunning this game, stop by speedrun.com, watch a run, and join our Discord. So I hope everyone has a great weekend. Take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this, because this is the first video I've done like this, and I thought it turned out really well.